Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 188 of your favourite Formula 1 show. Yes, Knowing Wheel returns this time out here to rank the drivers so far in their 2024 campaign. Of course, I can't do this alone. As always, I'm joined by JB183, who is yet again back from one holiday and about to embark on another one. The jet-setting life of my podcasting partner.
This is such a myth. I literally drove to somewhere else in England. It wasn't exactly...
It's still a holiday.
It did take me 6.5 hours, but yeah, I spent the week in Cornwall in a tent. One night in the back of a car, the rest of the nights in a very small tent.
Are you saying that's not a holiday?
Well, it was a holiday, to be fair. But, it's August. You got to do what you got to do. And yeah, all I'm doing next is seeing my parents. It just happens that they live in the south of France. I mean, what can I do?
As if you're just going to slyly throw that in. Deary me. Deary me. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll stop let JB humble brag about his life and everything going on. I treated myself with a luxury trip to IKEA at the weekend,
wow.
JB, so who's really
Did you get some meatballs?
I didn't, no. Oh. I was tempted to get one of the hot dogs because I think they're 89p.
Yeah.
And then I saw another bloke eating one of them and I was really happy I didn't get a hot dog.
Yeah, they're basically plastic, aren't they?
They looked anemic.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I need that.
No, the meatballs are banging, to be fair. The Swedish know what they're doing with
them. I've never tried anything from IKEA like that.
You are
the
missing
only
out.
thing I've ever bought is flat pack furniture.
Yeah, well, that is kind of what it's for, I guess, but the meatballs are right up there.
And this glass, JB, which I'm well aware you can't see.
Can't see.
I bought it thinking it was orange. Turns out it's pink. So now I own a pink glass, which I'm quite happy with.
Sponsored by BWT.
But anyway, no, they are pink, aren't they?
Pink,
Sorry,
yeah.
Ignore me. Yeah, wonderful. Anyway, of course, as you can see, hopefully on your screens, unless I've messed up the editing, Jamie and I have got a tier list. We've got all of the drivers from 2024, excluding Ollie Behrman, and today we're going to be going through and ranking them. Now, this is going to be controversial. We already know this. It's also only based on their 2024 performance. So none of this, Fernando Alonso almost won a world title 12 years ago. If they haven't been performing this year, they're not getting ranked that high. Any other questions, Jamie?
We should put Ollie Behrman on here, just so he doesn't have a picture.
We can try and put...
Well, not put him on, but just talk about him briefly.
Just rank him. Yeah. Do we want to rank him first, then, so we don't forget?
Yeah, go on, then. Saudi Arabia was overrated. But it was at least a B. But yeah, there you go.
Why do you thought Saudi Arabia was overrated at the time?
I did. Because it was so hyped.
Why?
He finished 7th in a Ferrari, which was easily the second fastest car.
Sixth. It was 6th, wasn't it?
No,
at
it
the
was
end,
7th.
He beat Hamilton. I thought it was 6th.
They
I
were
thought he ended up with 8
8th,
points.
9th.
I can't check.
They were 7th, 8th, 9th. Alonso beat them all, I think.
Okay. So 7th place on your debut in a car that you hadn't driven the day before.
The impressive thing was that he hadn't driven it on the Friday, but
and
he got battered by Leclerc.
Yeah, battered I think is a bit strong. Again, never driven the car before.
It was a good drive, but everyone was acting like he was the best thing since sliced bread at the time. And it was an accomplished drive. It was a good drive.
Hang on a minute. You threw Zhou Guanyu a parade when he finished 10th in Bahrain 2022. Why doesn't Behrman get that kind of praise?
Well, Behrman's debut was as good as Zhou's debut. I'll say that.
No, it was better. He came 7th, not 10th.
In a Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly, but that Alfa Romeo was what? The 5th best car at the start of that year? Probably 4th, actually.
Magnussen beat both of them. Probably 6th.
Well, no, because I'm thinking big 3 teams. Who else would be better then? No, Aston Martin. They didn't score points until round 4. Exactly, yeah.
Well, Haas
it was probably either the 4th or 5th best car.
Well, we're not onto Zhou yet. We'll start with Behrman. Put him in B. B for Bear.
Well, see already we're fighting over this. Because you agree with B, I think I want to put him in A. To be honest,
he's going in B.
He's going in B, but he's not actually going in B because we haven't got him on yet.
We haven't got him on the list.
So, to avoid just basically either running it down the championship order or anything else, Jamie and I decided we're going to be running this in alphabetical order. But are we doing alphabetical via surname?
Yes, that's the list I have.
Okay. So I assume Alex Albon is next?
Alex Albon is the next driver.
Wonderful. He's had... I think it's been a horrible year for Alex in like the oddest way possible. Because, of course, he's absolutely had the best of Sargent again. But because... I mean, we've spoke about this before, haven't we? Because that Williams now is a decent all-rounder, he hasn't been able to get those mega results we saw from him last year. Which I don't think is anything to do with the fact he's driven worse at all. I think it's just obviously the car isn't as OP in one singular way.
Yeah.
Did score points at Monaco, though. And I believe he scored points since then as well.
Silverstone, yeah. So he's got a couple of ninth places. Which is pretty good going. Because the car, yeah, as you say, it's better all round. And it's probably a better platform to build on because it can do corners now. But it means that...
Hence why points at Monaco.
Yeah. It's not quite as specialist, like ready-made for Monza and for Canada and those kind of things. Like he scored those big 7th, 6th places last year.
You mentioned Canada did still pull off the best move of the year.
Yes,
at the Canadian
and then
Grand
got
Prix.
super unlucky.
I don't think that'll get topped.
Somebody spun. Was it Sainz who spun and took him out?
Yes, it was. It was.
It's been an interesting year. He's obviously been the better Williams driver, but that's not exactly difficult.
Yeah, if he hadn't have been, then it would be slightly worried.
And he still never lost to Sargent in qualifying as teammates in a Grand Prix.
Yep. Grand Prix qualifying, we should preface. He did lose to him in sprint qualifying in Miami.
But 4 points? Is he... I don't know where that puts him. Maybe, like, he's been decent, but as I can't... Apart from that move in Canada, can you name anything super special? And I guess Monaco qualifying, arguably. But then Sargent got through to Q2 there, didn't he? So...
Yeah...
B?
It's been a bit of a weird one. But, and sometimes I feel like with a backmarker driver like that, you kind of feel like even those moments where they do shine now, obviously don't seem as prominent. And it's probably not helped by, of course, the fact that VCARB have taken a leap forward, Haas have taken a leap forward. So even on your really good weekends, often place you're only still beating the Alpines and the Saubers, which is a bit interesting. I think B is probably fair. But it's one that we could come back to later on, potentially, and reshuffle. I think if we lob Alex Albon in B at the moment...
Yeah, he's done nothing wrong, but the problem is you don't really see much of what you can do well in a car like that. But yeah, we'll move on to the next A, which is Fernando Alonso. And I'll let you take the lead on this one, because I don't want to get executed.
I'm going to get executed. First part of the year, a bit like we saw in 2023... Fantastic. We're still seeing this new revitalised Fernando Alonso. Since Imola, I want to say, since the return to Europe, it feels like more often than not Lance Stroll has got the better of him.
Yeah, I kind of see that. Looking at the numbers, they have pretty much scored the same amount of points since Imola. Stroll would have 12, 14, 15. Alonso's got 8. 12, 16. So Alonso's got one more point than Stroll since Imola, which is pretty astonishing when you consider how big the disparity was before that. And yeah, the car has kind of taken a step back. We know that, but he hasn't been the Alonso of old, and you feel like maybe age is catching up with him a little bit.
But it kind of feels as well that he signed this longer-term recommitment with Aston Martin, and of course, I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point over the summer break, but with the rumour now that Newey might apparently be basically confirmed, might not be a bad choice for him.
No.
And I guess we've kind of seen it before, haven't we, with Fernando, where you kind of go, oh, is he, I don't want to suggest that now, because obviously he's proved us wrong time and time again, and so is Formula One's other old dog as well at the moment. But... you do kind of question, like, is Fernando still, feeling it? Is he still happy? And, of course, the big one, which I'll always bring up, Jamie, is Fernando Alonso that good at developing a car? Taking it in the right direction? Because Aston Martin, I think, have seen 29 upgrades so far this year. And if I'm not mistaken, they're the only team now that is further off the pace of Red Bull than they were at the start of the year.
Oh, wow.
In terms of overall raw pace.
That is pretty astonishing. They really... you saw Kevin Magnussen joking about the Haas upgrades for the first time since he's driven for them actually working. Maybe Aston Martin haven't quite nailed that.
But it seems like they'll show up to a weekend with like 12 new upgrades for the car. And then all of them don't work or don't give them the results they want, or they then just remove all of the upgrades because, of course, you haven't really got time to try and work out which upgrades are working, which ones aren't, and suddenly you're back to square one again. It's so odd, and it's that kind of thing where, yeah, obviously that's not technically Alonso's fault, but there's only so many times you can have a decent car and not be able to get it anywhere until you kind of go, maybe there is, maybe his feedback isn't as great.
Yeah,
as maybe
I think Alonso has been better than Stroll overall.
Absolutely. I think it would be sacrilege to put him in the same tier.
It's 9-5.
But I think Stroll,
in qualifying.
I think, to be honest, Alonso probably could go B with a lower B than Albon, and Stroll could go C.
I agree with that.
Should we tick both of them off in one go?
We can jump the gun on Stroll. He's been better, but yeah, he's been.
Has he been better, or has Alonso just not been as good?
Maybe that's
not saying Alonso's been bad.
I feel like Stroll has barely made any absolute howlers this season, apart from the Saudi Arabia crash, which brought the safety car. Like, I can't think of him putting it in the wall that many times compared to previous years. But he's also in his 9th year of F1 or something daft like that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The idea that we're still talking about howlers in your 8th Formula 1 season, bearing in mind Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, I think, were both onto their 3rd world titles by then.
Yeah.
Is alarming.
Yeah, but he's been alright. And he's been nowhere near the worst driver on the grid. So...
No, okay, that's fair. Who's up next then, Jamie?
Bottas is up next. In the awful machinery that he's been given. He's doing an alright job. He's not doing awfully. He is 21st in a 20-man championship.
That's quite painful. He doesn't deserve to be there, though, in his defence.
In his defence, no. He's had a few early season points chances wiped out by poor pit stops. And so China as well, he was kind of there or thereabouts for P11, P12, and then the Ferrari engine gave up the ghost. Yeah, he's also 13-1 in qualifying against Zhou.
That was going to be my next question. Zhou has not been a qualifier this year.
No, but to be fair to Zhou, he has actually been a racer because he's ahead in the championship by virtue of countback.
Yeah, but I was going to say, but that's just more between those two about who's been screwed over less in the pit stops in the early rounds.
Yeah.
Like, Bottas would be ahead of him otherwise.
No, P11 and Zhou was always beating Bottas in Bahrain, but that's what makes a difference right now.
Bottas would have probably scored points over, like, Australia,
yeah, potentially, yeah.
But he was already, like, P9 all race until they botched his pit stop.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. But,
so Bottas probably would be ahead.
They're both being absolutely hamstrung by the machinery. But Bottas has been marginally better.
Marginally?
Maybe comfortably better.
13-1
it's
in
quite
qualifying.
hard to tell because the car is so abysmal.
It's a bit odd, isn't it? Because I feel like Bottas probably fits in pretty well with Alonso and Albon with the season they've had so far. Good driver, but it's quite difficult to really kind of get a proper look because we've got no idea just how bad the car is, and of course they're both going up against, or all three of them are going up against teammates that they should thrash.
Yeah.
You just don't really know particularly well.
Yeah, I could take Bottas in a low B if...
Are we putting him lower than Fernando or higher than Fernando? I think he goes lower than Albon. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Next up,
who's up
Pierre
next?
Gasly.
Is there no one between B and G?
There isn't. That's the next driver, Gasly.
That seems wild.
I really like Pierre Gasly, as we all kind of know.
I don't mind him.
I do think that the Alpine has been absolutely awful. But he had a very strong run mid-season, and in the last few races he's been absolutely screwed over because he drives for Alpine. So I think he's had the better of Ocon, just.
It's been apparently pretty much indistinguishable between them. But the bigger thing here, which has got to give Gasly brownie points, is he has won that battle to stay at Alpine.
Yeah.
We always knew when he came in, one of them would be gone within a couple of years. And of course, Alpine, they've got the money to give either driver basically whatever they want, sensibly, in terms of money. Gasly has won out in that war within the team. And that's got to be worth some merit as well.
Yes, for sure. And the last few races, Gasly had 4 points finishes in a row between Monaco in Austria, which is quite something in that car, to be honest. And then a DNS when he broke down on the formation lap. And then Hungary, he had a mechanical. And Belgium, he had a technical problem all race with lack of power. So really, he's still, like, the last 4 races that are able to be compared to anything, he's got points in all of them. So
yeah. And that Alpine has taken a big leap forward more recently.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that either.
yeah, it's no longer the back row like it was in Bahrain.
Yeah.
I would like to put Gasly in B tier as well. The thing is, Gasly and Ocon have been almost identical on track. So much so that they ran into each other.
I think if you're putting one, exactly, if you're putting one there, you've got to put the other there. Because I think actually in terms of raw pace, Ocon has been quicker. I think it was by something mad, like 6,000ths of a second on average this year.
It is something like that. Gasly is a point ahead in the championship.
Yeah.
But Ocon is beating the head-to-head quality quite comfortably, 10-4.
Yeah.
But Ocon is also the one leading.
Are we putting them both in B then?
I don't want everyone to be in B. Or are you saying C? Sorry.
I said B. I think
Okay.
putting him in with Lance Stroll is a bit unfair.
Yeah. Okay. Let's put them both in. Whatever.
Where are we putting them both?
Above Bottas and Alonso.
Shall we put Gasly up? No, I think that'd
They've
be
got to
harsh
go
on
together.
Ocon.
They're the best of
We'll
friends.
put them in together. Exactly. Yeah, we'll leave them together, just like they've always wanted
Just
to
like
be.
they were at
We've
Portimao.
already got a quarter of the grid in B
Yeah.
tier. This is going fantastic.
No more. Well, maybe some
To be
more.
fair, I'm actually looking down the roster. I'm not seeing many others that probably belong in B tier.
Fair. Next up is your man Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, baby.
He is
Thank
been
you
class.
to that email at Mercedes. Get your tinfoil hats out, ladies and gents.
Yeah, his last few races have been quality, but to be fair, he was doing nothing when the car was the 5th fastest.
Vintage Hamilton is back.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's strong.
maybe it is strong because he is 10-4 down on Russell
In qualifying.
in qualifying.
Well, what are the races looking like out of interest?
Well, 2 wins to 1, I guess. I don't know.
No, I meant points, actually, genuinely.
Points. 150
Yeah.
to 116 with a DSQ in there.
Yeah, I was going to say George has also been DSQ'd and had
And
a
a
DNF,
retirement
so they'd
also.
probably be. I've always been a Lewis Hamilton fan. I think, to be honest, yeah, George has had slightly more in qualifying, but I think that has also been because Lewis is trying to make the car better for races.
Yeah, probably.
Generally over the course of the season, I think again it's a bit like Gasly and Ocon, isn't it? As
They've
much
got
as
to go
obviously I
together.
love Lewis, and I think put him in a kind of like all or nothing situation, I would always back Lewis over George anyway. And I think now he's more comfortable in that car. He's able to get more out of it still. I think they probably both deserve A, I'm going to say.
I would agree with that.
Because they have been able to move that Mercedes from probably... They were battling Aston Martin at the start of the year to now they've taken 3 wins and Aston Martin are settled in with the kind of back markers as such.
Well, 3 wins out of 4
I
in the last
think-
4 races, so...
Exactly. Could we see Mercedes fight in the second half of the year? Only time will tell.
Well, they'll certainly pick up more wins. I'm not sure they could get a Drivers' Championship, and the
No,
constructors,
not drivers,
they're miles
constructors,
away.
though, yeah.
But it could happen.
Yeah, but you never know. How quickly has that come down, though? In that? Actually, I
Yeah.
suppose George being DNF and DQ'd and
Yeah,
stuff.
they've also only had 1
Probably
car
not help.
finishing.
Yeah.
Um,
So we
I
say
think
both of them in
they
A?
both have A. I'll let you decide which one's been better, because I think it's been Russell. But
Would you say Russell's been better every single time, though? Because, of course, he's had a few weekends where he's had upgrades that Lewis hasn't seen. There have been a few weekends where Lewis... Obviously, I know more recently George's been unlucky, but let's be fair, in many ways, I do actually believe that Silverstone, probably that DNF saved him from a disappointing P4 finish from pole,
probably.
all things considered.
Yeah, probably.
Belgium absolutely did deserve that, Mercedes.
And the other
I think
thing for George is the
Lewis
Australia car.
might have got past him. Yeah, Lewis, I think, would have got past him had that car been the correct weight.
Yeah,
But George still drove brilliantly
He did.
there.
he did. I think I'll let you decide. And your bias will probably put Hamilton first.
I'm trying to think, or I would genuinely put them literally on each other. I think
Yeah.
in terms of this. But I'm going to put Lewis first simply because obviously he's got more points and he's got 2 wins against George's 1. Yes, I know I'm going to get called out for bias,
10-4
but
in
I
qualifying.
don't care. But what are the races head-to-head looking like?
I haven't got that up. Let me...
Say, grab that quickly for us. If George is winning 10-4 as well in that, then I'll swap them.
Mercedes. Russell is 8-6 ahead. I don't know if that includes races where... Oh, that's where they're both classified. Is that?
But there's been... No, that can't be both classified.
There's been 14 races? Maybe that's not.
Yeah. Bearing in mind as well, Lewis had you mentioned Australia. Lewis had a mechanical failure there.
He did. And Russell just binned it on the last lap and then... Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll go with you.
Are you happy to leave him like that?
I am.
It is genuinely one of those ones, right? They are literally on top of each other. We'll put Lewis first for alphabetical reasons.
Alphabetical reasons. He's won it on countback. Next
He
up,
has.
Nico Hülkenberg. And
Oh.
I will not stop praising him in this next few minutes because he has been unbelievably good.
He's been able to get a lot out of a car that probably is the best of the backmarket cars.
No, it's not.
But we hyped up Yuki earlier on in the year when that V
Yeah.
car was the best of the backmarkers, so I think it's only the same we do with Hulkenberg.
A couple
Did
of
you
sixth
see,
place-
I put it in our group chat, Ayu Komatsu's comments
yeah.
about him recently.
Yeah.
Is he a little bit salty?
I think he might be salty that he's going to Audi because they're going to be left with Mick Schumacher and Esteban. No, Schumacher's not even going.
I do hope not.
Behrman
yeah.
and Ocon
Ollie
is already
Behrman.
confirmed, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I think Hulkenberg could have done nothing more than what he has done in that car. So I want
On most occasions.
I want to put him in S, to be honest, but I know you won't let me.
Yeah.
But what, like...
The thing I have with Hulkenberg there is, apart from maybe Silverstone, I want to say, which on paper should always be a good Haas track anyway.
And he's quality
based
there.
on a lot of the other tracks they're good at. Exactly. I feel like, yeah, he's absolutely been getting everything out of that car. But the thing always with Hulkenberg, which is, why he never got like those high-profile drives earlier on in his career as well, in races, he never seems to be able to pick up that just completely over what the car is capable of result. Hence, no podium.
A
still.
P6
I'm gonna
in
mention
Austria
it, Jamie, I'm
ahead of
sorry.
Perez.
Perez? That's your metric?
Well, in a Red
Sergio
Bull.
Perez? It's Sergio Perez in a Red Bull, Jamie.
Back in the day, they were teammates, and everyone was like, "Oh, Perez is better." Absolute
Well,
clowns.
Perez was.
I think
Perez was.
he's had a 16th in Bahrain, which was a trash race, to be fair. Other than
Yeah.
that, he's had the retirement in Monaco, which was not his fault because Perez killed them all at
Magnussen
turn
and
1.
Perez. Yeah.
And then, other than that, he's finished P11 5 times.
He has, P11
and then
points pretty
5
much every
times in
other
the
race.
points. And then I don't know what
Where
happened.
did he finish in Hungary and Belgium?
13th and
completely
18th.
forgot. Oh, okay, so 2 completely anomalous
I don't know
results.
what happened in those 2 races. But Magnussen didn't do any better. So
No.
maybe the Haas train is over.
I think A tier. Do I put him ahead of Russell or Hamilton, or do you think Hulkenberg's better than Russell or
I
Hamilton
think he's
this year,
performed better
Jamie?
this season, to be honest. Like, it's 11-3 in qualifying in Hulkenberg's
To
favour.
Magnussen.
Yeah, Magnussen's good. Last year,
Are
or
you
a
saying
couple of years
Magnussen's
ago,
good now? It's so funny watching your desperation.
a couple
kick
of
in.
years ago when he was back against Schumacher, Magnussen was the greatest driver ever. And it's 11-2 in the races. And Magnussen's not an idiot.
I can't believe I'm going to allow this
Yes,
for now.
there we go. Right,
Shocking.
next
Nico
up.
Hulkenberg provisionally has been our best driver of the year.
He has been out of the ones we've done so
Wowee.
far. Charles Leclerc is next up.
We spoke about this quite in depth last
We
week,
did.
didn't we?
We did, so we could
And
go
I
quite
think the
quickly.
point still stands. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been really good.
If you remove those 3, what was it, 3 or 4 races, wasn't
4
it?
races.
It was...
Canada, Spain,
Was it
Austria,
4?
Britain.
Oh, I always forget Spain, yes, as well, sorry. If you remove those 4 races, Charles Leclerc absolutely S tier this year.
He's been
Unfortunately,
really good.
Unfortunately, you can't remove those 4 races. He's got basically everything out of that car every other race this year, with maybe the exception of Australia, because Sainz should get the better
won.
of him there quite handily.
Yeah, but other than that, he has been quality. I guess
Yeah.
Sainz also beat him in Bahrain, and then, like, Saudi Arabia, who is obviously not against Sainz because of appendix. But
Yeah.
yeah, he has been really good. P4 in every other race, at least, in what has, on average, probably been the third or fourth fastest car. It's very
I
good
would
going.
say, yeah, pretty reliably third or fourth.
And a pole position and a podium in Belgium, which he should never really have been near.
He shouldn't really have got the pole, though, should he? He was 6/10 off Max.
It's true, but he
But
was,
it was still a good effort.
qualifying second in that Ferrari still.
Mm.
It's pretty good going.
Yeah.
Has he been better than Hulkenberg?
I was going to ask, has he been better than Lewis or George?
Yeah. Let me check the head-to-heads.
I mean, I guess the thing is as well with Charles this year, he's won the one race he should have as well.
Yeah.
The one real shot Ferrari actually had at a win, excluding Australia, of course, he won
Yeah.
as well.
So Leclerc is
But-
8-5 ahead in qualifying.
Yeah.
In Grand Prix qualifying, and 7-5 ahead in the races. Because neither driver
But the
finished.
other important thing, of course, is that we touched upon there. He did have 4 races that were absolute stinkers.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like I said, he's doing pretty damn well in that car most of the time, but he could be a comfortable P2 in the championship right now.
Yeah, he could be.
Had those 4 races gone to plan. He could have like 20 odd points on Lando, and then he would easily be S tier.
Yeah.
But those
Should we
4
go
races have happened.
behind the Mercedes?
That's where I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm
Had
happy with
those
that.
4 races not happened, I think, yeah, he would have been ahead of them. But unfortunately they did. And there were a couple of mistakes by him in there. There was obviously typical Ferrari-isms as well. But it's a shame that those really do knock him back.
Yeah. Next up, K-Mag, Kevin Magnussen. I think this is
He's
a
the
quick one.
reason Hulkenberg's in it.
I think K-Mag's probably a C behind Stroll. Because he spent...
Behind Stroll.
I mean, he's been alright. He scored points when the car should have scored points. He got a 10th in Australia and 8th in Austria. And that's it.
Yep.
And then the rest of the time he spent as a moving chicane. So
To help Hulkenberg.
only twice, only in Saudi and then the sprint in Miami, wasn't it? But yeah, I think he has not been great, and there's a reason why he's not going to get a seat next season.
Yeah, I think... ultimately, I think that's what we're saying, isn't it? If you're anything below B tier in this, you're probably not going to have a seat next year. I think that's a pretty
Unless
good
your dad
unwritten
owns
rule.
the team.
And I was going to say, you don't deserve a seat next year, was more where I was getting at. And I think, yeah, Magnussen's done the team game where he should have, but unfortunately for him, Hulkenberg coming in has kind of, after a year of going up against like Mick Schumacher and things like that, Hulkenberg, unfortunately, yeah, he's kind of just showcasing that, yeah, on his day, he's still brilliant. Brazil pole. Not brilliant, but
Clip
very
that.
good.
Clip that.
Exactly. But there's just not enough of those days, is there,
Wow.
to warrant an F1 driver.
Until he goes to Audi and... Oh, you're talking about Magnussen? Oh, yeah, no.
Yes,
definitely
I'm
not.
on about Magnussen.
I thought you were talking about
yeah.
Hulkenberg.
Oh, sorry, no.
No, yeah, on his day, Magnussen can be very quick, but they don't come round often enough.
No,
No,
exactly.
Next up,
Exactly.
this will be a discussion point, Lando Norris.
Ooh, Mr. Bottle Job himself, eh?
I don't like this narrative around Norris right now.
Of course you don't.
'Cause-
Jamie,
yeah.
here's a question for you. Who on the grid, name a couple of drivers that Lando Norris gets compared to, up and down the
Max
grid?
Verstappen,
Max Verstappen,
Lewis Hamilton, George Russell.
Lewis Hamilton, George Russell. Fantastic. Jamie 183, up and down the grid, who has the same amount of wins as Lando Norris in Formula 1?
What, all time or this season? George
All
Russell.
time.
Oh, no.
No.
Oscar Piastri.
Yeah.
Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly.
Yep, exactly.
But...
Are we starting to see it played out that Lando Norris is a bit overhyped?
No, not. This is such a bad narrative.
Oh, he's really, really pushing for it, aren't you?
He's quality. He just needs to get that final little, he's like a 9.5. Not in terms of how good he's been this season, but in terms of how ready he is to win a championship. He's like a 9 out of 10.
I would say he's probably where Max was back in 2018, 2019. Yeah. He needs a bit more maturing to do yet.
Yeah, exactly. But he's not a bad driver. He's not in the same camp as Gasly and Ocon in terms of how good he's going to be. Because those 2 wins were very lucky.
But the important question is he in the same camp as a Hamilton or a Verstappen?
Well, not yet. But yeah, I would say he's in the camp of Russell and Leclerc right now. On where in 5 years' time they'll be the best.
But we're not talking about 5
No,
years'
we're
time,
not.
Jamie. We're
But
talking about
Norris
this
has been
season.
really good this season. He has been.
He's made it interesting sometimes,
If
but
you're
he's also
trying
missed
to
out
tell
on a
me
lot of opportunities.
if you're going to tell me Piastri's been better, then that's a lie. Because he has
I
to
would
go.
say in the last 7 races he has been. He scored more points.
It's 12-2 in qualifying and 9-5 in the races. Over the course of the season, Norris has been class. It's just been a couple of missed wins in the last few races. But overall, he's been, I would say, still the second best driver of the season.
Second best driver of the season?
I would struggle to put him like below S. It's almost a default that you have Verstappen.
Below S?
Maybe a high
Wait,
A.
you're gonna put him in S, Lando Norris, the king of bottling wins. He's had 1 win this year, Jamie, which was gifted to him.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
When
How
else,
many wins has
when
he
else
thrown away?
should he have won?
Spain,
Spain.
Silverstone,
Well, Silverstone wasn't really his fault.
Austria.
Austria again wasn't really.
Austria
his fault.
wasn't his fault, to be fair.
The one
Hungary, that wasn't his
Hungary
fault.
wasn't his fault. Exactly.
Kind of.
Exactly. Like he has.
Belgium, he bottled it at the start.
Yeah, Belgium was a poor start, and the ability to lose pole position every time he's on pole position is quite
Exactly.
impressive.
He's lost the most places of anyone on the grid so far this year. Do you know who's gained the most places so far this year?
Probably like Logan Sargent.
Nope.
Who?
Lewis Hamilton.
Really? Well, get better at qualifying.
Yeah.
then.
Hang on a minute. Lewis has gained like 9 places a year. Do you know how many Lando's lost?
Probably like 10 or 12 or something.
26.
Oh my day! How has he lost that many? Where did he?
Shanghai didn't help where he
yeah.
lost 7 in
Very
1
lucky.
lap.
Yeah, I think Norris has been really good. I'll settle for
I
A.
think people want to push the narrative that Norris has been really good, but he's in a car now that is probably the strongest.
The strongest all-rounder, probably. That or
And he's
Mercedes
won
right
one
now, to be
race.
honest.
No.
3
Don't
and
give me
4
that.
wins.
Exactly, but to be fair, one of them definitely shouldn't have had. Second one was all Lewis, and the third one was
All Lewis, they
good
got a
strategy.
1-2 in qualifying, didn't they?
No,
A
no,
1-3.
yeah, but that was still in the race though.
But-
That car was not the fastest. It's just prime Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone.
Arguably.
Plus, Mercedes are definitely allowed to turn their engines off at Silverstone.
That might be true. I will settle for
Tinfoil
A,
hat
but I
style.
would put him second. Oh, behind.
Fine.
Maybe
Wait, no, I'm not putting him behind
ahead of
Hulkenberg.
Hulkenberg. I meant second because I've got
Yeah.
a driver in mind who's definitely an S.
Yeah, I know.
Esteban Ocon we've already done, haven't we?
Yep.
Sergio
Is
Perez.
it Sergio Perez?
Right.
Oh, it is Sergio Perez.
D. Move on. He was really good
Yeah.
for 5 races, and then has been absolutely appalling
When?
ever since. The first 5
Oh yeah,
races.
when the car was ridiculously OP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he got 3 second places and a 3rd place.
I feel like the closest comparison I can think of for Perez right now in like living Formula One memory is Heikki Kovalainen, 2008.
A little bit, yeah.
Except for he hasn't won a race yet, and Heikki did.
Heikki's was also incredibly lucky.
Oh yeah,
Welcome to the world of winning. But yeah, Perez has been very, very poor. And obviously he's up against the best driver on the grid, but he should be doing better.
yeah, he should be doing a lot better. He should be doing a lot better.
And I'm amazed he hasn't been dropped yet. But it might come because
Well, I
Liam
still
Lawson
think
still
he
needs
might
to see.
be after Singapore. Like, they'll let him run his strong races, and if he can't deliver there, then I think he's gone.
It's
I'll be honest.
14-0 in Grand Prix qualifying.
And I assume
13-1.
14 in races.
Australia is the only one.
Oh, that doesn't count, does
No,
it?
exactly. So 13-0 in races where they've both finished. Actually, no, because Perez didn't
Yeah,
finish too. But you know what I mean. He wasn't beating Max.
I
in
think
Monaco
the
or
thing
Canada.
is with Perez, and this is the horrible thing still, if you put him in the same car as Magnussen or Stroll, he'd probably get more of it out of it than they would.
Probably.
But unfortunately, he's not in the same car as Magnussen and Stroll.
Yes, and since being 4th in Miami, he hasn't finished higher than 7th. Sorry.
Can I shuffle a few drivers around?
Depend. Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to do this.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Alonso as well.
Is that... I think Alonso deserves to be. I don't think Alonso
Okay,
should be
yeah.
B if Stroll is D.
Okay,
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair. Yeah, let's split them up a
Wonderful.
little bit.
Yeah.
We've just culled B tier completely. All right, next P is
Yep.
Mr. Piastri, who has been worse than Lando Norris before you start, but not by much.
And also not in the last 7 races.
Well, this is the whole season.
Yeah, but you're talking recency bias all the time.
Am I?
Yeah.
Piastri has been very, very good this season, but
And Jamie,
Yes.
literally came out yesterday, has done 4 Grand Prix with a broken rib.
he has. But then, should we give him pity points for that? Sainz has done most of the races without an appendix.
Yeah, but, right, okay, that's less weight.
Exactly. I'm surprised he didn't get disqualified from Belgium.
Dear
Piastri. We can't have everyone in A tier now, can we? Do you want to put Leclerc down?
I feel putting Leclerc
Yeah,
down
maybe.
is a little
Maybe
bit
they've all been A.
harsh.
To be fair, they've all been quality.
Yeah, I think the problem is you've had a lot of A tier drivers.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be one more that we discuss soon, but we'll get onto that. I feel like Piastri as well. More recently, it's been a real kind of he kind of he's worked out how either the car or the team operates.
Yes. Yeah.
And I genuinely see a scenario by the end of the year where he's ahead of Lando in the championship. Not saying it's guaranteed or anything.
Yeah, and
but I could
certainly-
see him genuinely ahead of Lando by the end of the year.
Certainly next year, if the McLaren keeps as good as it is, that will get interesting. We haven't yet seen Piastri phased by anything, which is
He doesn't.
he doesn't.
He's great.
Yeah, which I absolutely love him for. But when they're in a championship fight, is he gonna be as chilled out and relaxed as he is now? I mean, maybe.
No, I think Lando's just going to absolutely implode, is what I think. But apparently Lando Norris is not a bottle job.
Well,
Despite the fact he's meant to be in a championship fight this year, and really isn't.
well, yeah, maybe. But Piastri should be A as well, but behind Norris.
You're saying he's better than the rest of them, are you? Less wins
I'd-
than Lewis Hamilton?
I'd have him anywhere in A, but as long as he's behind Norris,
As long as he's behind Norris.
put him anywhere you want.
I'm going to say there.
Wow, that's lower than I thought you. You love Piastri.
I do love Piastri. And I don't want to jump the gun with him still before the end of the year.
Okay.
He's
good.
the only reason I'm putting him ahead of Leclerc is obviously he hasn't had 4 absolute stinkers.
Yeah, true.
Barcelona was a bit of a stinker for him. He kind of went a bit missing during the
He
Grand Prix
finished
there.
13th in Miami. What happened there? Oh yeah, someone crashed into him. Didn't they?
He got taken out,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was it
really
Perez?
his fault. Probably. Who hasn't Perez crashed into this year?
True.
Apart from Max Verstappen,
True.
because he's never been near him.
Next up, Danny Ricciardo. That's
Oh.
an interesting one. Because he started the season terribly. I think
Then got okay.
kind of that Miami sprint revitalised him a little bit, and now since then they've kind of been evened with each other, Tsunoda and Ricciardo.
Yeah. I think the problem is obviously with Ricciardo is it was kind of a given that he should beat Tsunoda quite handily.
And he's not.
And Tsunoda ultimately just hasn't allowed that to happen again.
It's 9-5 in quali to Tsunoda, and it's 8-5
Yeah.
in the races to Tsunoda.
Which race didn't they do then?
They both.
What
didn't
race hasn't been
finish China.
included? Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Other than that, only Ricciardo's had a DNF in Japan. So
Yeah. Tsunoda is... Yeah, how many points behind... What's the
points-
back marker standings looking like?
Tsunoda's
yeah.
on 22.
Tsunoda's still ahead, isn't he?
Ricciardo's
Yeah.
on 12.
Right, okay. And they're what, behind Hulkenberg and
Hulkenberg's
Stroll?
also on 22, but ahead on countback. And then Stroll's on 24.
Yes. So, we clearly don't believe Tsunoda has been as good as Hulkenberg this year.
No.
I think Tsunoda belongs in that B tier with Alex Albon.
I agree.
Probably ahead of Alex Albon.
I agree.
But I'm gonna say Ricciardo's probably a C tier.
I would say so as well, because, yeah, he's been worse, but not by loads.
Should we put Ricciardo in between Ocon and Bottas?
Sure. I'm happy with that.
Okay. We've got 4 more to go, Jamie.
4
We're
more to
getting
go.
there.
Next up, it's George Russell. We've
already put George Russell in.
Carlos Sainz.
Yeah. Okay.
Sainz started the season really well. First
Yep.
3
Got
races,
that win.
he was
We thought you
better.
might be the only non-Red Bull win again.
I would say first 4 races. Well, first 3 races that he competed in, he was better than Leclerc.
Yeah.
And since then, it's kind of gone south.
The tides have turned,
Yeah.
haven't they?
Yeah, and he's kind of in where he kind of expects to be just a little bit off. He is very unfortunate to be losing that Ferrari seat and having to drive for Williams next season. I will say that.
Yeah, that's a little bit. For his talent, that's a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
But, that's the way the Formula One world goes.
Yeah, it is. As we said, he's 8-5 down in qualifying, 7-5 down in the races.
I think top of B tier is fair, ahead of Senoda.
Yeah, I agree. He's close to Leclerc.
He's not quite... Yeah, exactly. We'll put him as the next best driver behind Leclerc so far this year. But he hasn't quite had enough races where he's kind of been in that fight, has he? Not enough
Australia was very good,
results.
and Bahrain was very good as well. Then his other podiums,
Yeah.
Monaco was incredibly lucky because he should have been
He
last.
shouldn't have finished there. Exactly. He should have been out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then the Canada mistake was poor to take out Albon on what was already a pretty bad race. Anyway,
Exactly.
I'm happy with that. Next up, Logie Sargent.
Oh, baby. Sargent.
How low do you go?
I mean, he's probably been... Would we say he's probably been the worst driver again, hasn't
I
he?
think so.
Absolutely. The thing is, though, with Sargent, I genuinely don't believe he deserves F tier.
No.
When
I
we
agree.
saw a driver like Mazepin a couple of years ago, yes, he's probably been the worst driver on the grid.
But he's not been an
I
embarrassment.
don't
to the
believe...
grid.
Exactly. He's had a couple of really bad weekends, and probably the worst one I think we all remember was the one he never actually raced in Australia. That was pretty painful. But of course, he will be dropped at the end of the year. Williams have already announced their lineup. No one else is going to be looking for a Logan Sargent, are they?
No. No.
Which is a bit of a shame for him.
He's finished
Well,
20th
really,
twice. But yeah, 2 years in the sport is probably fair.
Exactly.
11th in Silverstone, though, was unfortunate there to not pick up a point.
Yeah, but it's a good Williams
Did he
track,
score a
isn't
point
it?
last season? I can't remember. I don't think he did.
Yeah, USA didn't
Oh,
he? But
yeah.
he didn't finish top 10.
He got disqualified, or two people got disqualified ahead of him.
Yeah.
Next up, Max Verstappen. I think he has to go in S. And that's not my Dutch bias.
No, I'm going to be slightly controversial here, Jamie, but hear me out.
Okay.
I don't think anyone deserves S tier this year.
Really?
I am happy to put him top of A.
What more could Verstappen have done?
And not completely lost his cool in the last few Grand Prix. The thing S tier is for Austria as well.
Austria was
S
just a
tier
very
is for a
intense
driver that has pretty much ran flawlessly so far this year. Verstappen, I would say, hasn't. Don't get me wrong, I still absolutely would put him at the top of A. There's no way I'm putting him up. No way I'm saying Lando Norris is best driver of the year so far.
Well, clearly not.
But I don't genuinely believe that anyone has been worthy of S tier. And that's partly obviously due to how competitive the sport's become this season.
Which is nice.
Very quickly. But, which obviously, is a good thing. But, is he having a year where everything where we feel every single weekend he's got everything out of that car? Obviously, he's going up against Perez, so it's quite difficult to measure.
Perez is no idiot.
But I would... He pretty much is in that car.
Well, right now he is, but he's clearly...
Yeah.
He's a middling driver on the grid.
Yeah. I would say...
I can see what you mean.
Yeah,
but I would argue
I just don't feel...
Only in Hungary did he properly lose his cool. Austria was more like a minute misjudgment in the heat of battle.
No, I think he was angry there, I think. And that's what led to the crash. Especially then trying to run Lando off the road again at the top of the hill.
That was just, you couldn't steer it because he had a puncture.
Right, okay. But he somehow managed to steer all the way across the track.
He can manage the rest of the corners fine.
Exactly.
I'll allow it. But he's still first.
I think in my mind, in the same way that no one deserves an F tier for being absolutely terrible this year, I also don't believe anyone deserves an S tier either.
He is 14-0 up in quali and race.
Yeah, but it's against Perez
and 7
again.
wins, and the next best is 2.
Yeah, but how many more wins is he going to get by the end of the year?
He'll pick up a few more, probably.
Probably, yeah. You'd expect him to.
If he doesn't, he might not win the championship.
Exactly, yeah. I feel like, again, Lando Norris, just for me, doesn't sit right there in P2, but okay.
Well, put Hulkenberg P2 if you want. I
knew
mind.
you were going to say put Hulkenberg between them. Of course.
Last up.
I refuse to say that Hulkenberg has been the second best driver of the year.
Zhou Guanyu.
I mean, it's pretty simple, isn't it? Looking at where
he's got to go between Perez and Stroll. between Perez and Sargent.
Yeah, I mean, he's not getting a seat next year, is he?
No.
But
Unless his $500 million goes to Alpine.
Oh yeah, unless they want all his not rand, even that's South Africa. His yuan, even.
Yeah,
I should say.
But I would
that's alarming. Isn't
I
it?
would genuinely be quite interested how he does against a different teammate, because Bottas wasn't embarrassed by Hamilton for 6 years or 5-6 years, and that's the only guy Joe's ever gone
not
up
in
against.
Qualifying. Yeah.
So if he does get a seat at Alpine, I would like to think the narrative might change and people might realise he's actually okay.
I mean, that would be your wet dream, wouldn't it? Joe and Gasly.
Problem is, one of them's got to lose then. But yeah, I think he has probably been better than Sargent, and I'll let you decide if he's been better than Perez. I hope he stays on the grid. I really do. But
I mean, he's probably made less mistakes than Perez.
Yeah, definitely. Joe's very consistently
mediocre.
Very consistently mediocre at best.
Yeah.
With a couple of good results every once or twice a season, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I'm just running back through. I think that pretty much all looks fair in my mind.
Yeah, the S tier being blank just looks wrong, but I'll let you off.
But like I said, I, in the same way no one deserves F tier this year, I don't believe anyone deserves S either.
Yeah, fair enough. Bearwood would be in B.
Behrman would be in B, yeah. So we've got a pretty even split. I would say behind Albon. Yeah. But we say he's been better than Alonso. Is that controversial?
Well, in the one race,
if we put Alonso into the bottom of B.
I like that.
Yeah, that seems fairer, I think. Putting Alonso in C tier is a bit harsh. Although, again, then we put Stroll in D and Alonso in B again and
whatever.
Everything. You know what, we'll leave it like that. So, our final rankings then for our audio listeners. From best to worst so far in 2024. Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Nico Hülkenberg, those two I question slightly, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Yuki Tsunoda, Alex Albon, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo, Valtteri Bottas, Kevin Magnussen even, Lance Stroll, Sergio Perez, Zhou Guanyu, and Logan Sargent. I think looking up and down that list, there's no one I can really see in a wrong spot. That might be, for how controversial these normally are, Jamie, I think we've actually ran pretty well there.
I think, yeah. Nobody can complain at all. I'm sure nobody will complain in the slightest.
Wonderful. Have we got anything else to add, Jamie183?
Have we?
Has any news broken since we've been live like you did a couple of weeks ago?
I'll have a quick browse, but I'd be surprised. It is Monday morning.
Let me have a look. Let me have a look on the Twitter sphere.
No, can't see anything.
Just my Twitter now is all ads, apparently. I don't know if it's the same for you.
Yeah, pretty similar. No, nothing. It's just still not race week, as we know.
No, it's not, but that's fine. Well, thank you everybody so much as always for listening. Like we said, this is just our tier list. Let us know yours down in the comments. If you're Spanish, send us hate. We don't translate it. If you think I've biased towards Zhou Guanyu, putting him ahead of Sargent, tell us. Where would you rank all of the drivers so far in 2024? If you think I'm a hater of Max Verstappen because I haven't immediately assumed he's been miles better than everybody else, tell us. And we'll be back. I think we're back to normal, aren't we? Again next week, Jamie, with a standard Tuesday upload. So thank you all, as always, so much for listening. Get yourself sub. We're almost at 700 subs. So I appreciate all the support recently. And we'll be back very, very soon.